ब्रेकिंग न्यूज कमिंग इन राइट नाउ। आरआर नगर पोल्स को डिफर कर दिया गया है। तो जो वोटर आईडी की पूरी कंट्रोवर्सी हुई थी उसको मद्देनजर रखते हुए ऐसा लगता है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन ने डिसाइड किया है कि आरआर नगर में इलेक्शन वोटिंग कल नहीं होगी, उसको पोस्टपोन कर दिया जाएगा। ये पिछले 2 दिन से मेरा नाव पे हम बात उठा रहे थे कि जब तक ये नहीं पता चले कि वो 9000 वोटर आईडी कहाँ से आए, किसने इकट्ठा किए और उसके साथ क्या होने वाला था, क्या वोटर्स को पैसे मिलने वाले थे, ब्राइब किया जाता, क्या गड़बड़ हुई, क्या कंस्पिरेसी थी, जब तक ये ना पता चले तब तक क्या वोटिंग होनी चाहिए वहाँ पे। और अभी अभी इलेक्शन कमीशन का ऑर्डर आया है कि उन्होंने इस एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में कर्नाटका की आरआर नगर में इलेक्शन नहीं होंगे 28 तारीख तक कम से कम। उन्होंने इलेक्शन को डिले, वोटिंग को डिले कर दिया गया है। ये बहुत बड़ी खबर है। 2 दिन से मेरा नाम यही सवाल पूछ रहा था इलेक्शन कमीशन से कि जब आपके पास कोई क्लैरिटी नहीं, कोई इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है कि कौन है इस कंस्पिरेसी के पीछे, षड्यंत्र के पीछे, कौन कोशिश कर रहा है कि इलेक्शन प्रोसेस ठीक से ना चले। 9000 वोटर आईडी मिले, 20000 वोटर आईडी एक्नॉलेजमेंट रिसिप्ट्स मिली, एक जगह से इकट्ठा की गई। जब तक उस बात की पूरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन नहीं हो जाएगी तब तक कैसे वोटिंग हो सकती है। हम अपने रिपोर्टर्स के पास जाएंगे अभी और रिएक्शन के लिए और डिटेल्स के लिए, लेकिन ये इलेक्शन कमीशन का ऑर्डर अभी आया है एंड आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू रीड आउट फ्रॉम दैट। श्रीजा हमारे साथ जुड़ रही हैं। श्रीजा, this is an order that has come from the election commission, no voting at least till the 28th of May.
Well, absolutely. This is the breaking that we are getting at this point in time, where we understand the Election Commission has decided to, in fact, postpone the post 28th of May. Now, clearly, we understand that this was a question that we did, of course, pose to the Election Commission, asking that whether they are planning to countermand the elections, but then they had no answers. But looks like just a day before the elections, we are seeing how they are planning to, in fact, the polling in RR Nagar has right now been deferred and the polling will
ठीक है श्रीजा, हमारे साथ बने रही है। आरती सुब्रमण्यम न्यूज रूम से हमारे साथ जुड़ रही हैं। आरती, ये काफी लंबा उन्होंने इलेक्शन कमीशन ने अभी सर्कुलर निकाला है, क्या कहता है इलेक्शन कमीशन?
Tanvi, let me just come to the operative part here. The commission, and I'm quoting from this, the commission further directs that the poll in the constituency shall now take place on 20th May 2018 and counting of the votes will take place on 31st May 2018. So we can now confirm that polls in the RR Nagar constituency have now been postponed to the 28th of May and counting for this particular election will take place on the 31st of May 2018. Now, I'm just going to read through this particular notice of the Election Commission, in which they mention that 2 serious incidents were reported. One concerning seizure of a truck carrying goods worth about ₹95 lakh by a flying squad. Of course, this was not the main reason, of course, that this election was cancelled. And the other concerning seizure of 1000 voter ID cards, photo voter slips, laptops, survey forms of voters and a few items in flat number 115 SLV Park Apartment on May 8th. Now, this particular seizure of the voter ID cards really seems to have sealed the deal as far as elections in this particular seat are concerned.
आरती, इनफैक्ट मैं आगे इसके जो है थोड़ा सा और पढ़ना चाहूंगी। जो रेड हुई थी जहां पे 9000 वोटर आईडी कार्ड मिले थे उसके बारे में, और इलेक्शन कमीशन कहता है that the observers visited the spot and gave their report. The combined report of general police and expenditure observers for the said 154 Raja Rajeshwari Nagar Assembly constituency has stated that the 3 observers visited this spot. Now, the documents show that the concerned party candidate had used a survey firm. एक सर्वे फर्म को यूज किया जा रहा था वोटर्स का पूरा डिटेल सर्वे करने के लिए, जिसमें उनके घर की फोटो, उनकी सारी वोटर डिटेल्स, उनकी कास्ट, जेंडर, कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर, ये सब इकट्ठा किया गया था। About the matter of incidents and seizure of the flat, allegations and counter allegations.
Expenditure ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರ ವಿಚಾರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಅವರು ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಪರಿಶೀಲನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಏನು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ನಡೀತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅದರದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಇದೆ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ 1461 ಹ್ಯಾಮ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ವಲ್ನರೇಬಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಮ್ಲೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ ಮತ್ತು 4681 ಟ್ರಬಲ್ ಮೇಕರ್ಸ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಡೀ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ 585 ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ paramilitary force ಅವರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ that will be around 46,800 ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಪಡೆಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯದಿಂದ 7,000 ಜನ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ 87,717 ಅವರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇದು ಎರಡು ಸೇರಿದ್ರೆ 1,34,517 1,34,517 ಅಷ್ಟು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳು ಈಗ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ 3,65,000 ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಡಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಮಸ್ಟರಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಪೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ 154 general observers.
We'll go back to that once the State Election Commission official starts referring to the RR Nagar constituency details. Aarti, coming back to you, this clearly goes on to say that the available material, including epics or the voter IDs, in large scale suggests a design to induce voters in a particular manner at the level of parties. That is very, very essential. As per the available information till this time, it can be inferred that the process of inducement was a planned strategy, which is a serious cause for concern. And anything else you've been able to spot yet, Aarti?
Yes, Tanvi, I'm just going through this as we speak. Now, remember, there was a lot of confusion about the sequence of events. How really did the Election Commission end up there? Who received the tip-off? So this sheds a little bit of light on that, and I'm just going to read from this particular report. The Deputy Election Commissioner in his report mentions when the police team of 3 constables arrived on the spot on receipt of a telephone information in the local police station, the door of the flat, now this of course is the flat where these epic cards were found, the doors of the flat was already found broken and about 50 to 60 people were fighting against each other. They also found epic cards and other materials scattered around. They informed their supervisors who arrived and took control of the situation. Election officials also arrived and assessed the materials, including epic cards found in the premise. Now remember, there was a lot of confusion regarding the sequence of events on that particular day that led to this. Remember, the BJP and Congress have been trading charges on what their political workers were doing at that location. So this probably just helps us piece together what happened that day.
Yes, and they have clearly said that by the time that the police arrived there, the door had already been broken in, which means that in most probability it was the whistleblower, the BJP workers who had already reached that place. It is also interesting to see that they have said that they will take 7 days to return these voter IDs, to trace down the real voters and return it back to them. So they are also trying to ensure that these 10,000 odd voters get their chance to vote on May 28th, Aarti.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to read some more. The DEC in his report also mentioned that the door of the flat was broken before the arrival of the police. It's a matter of investigation that in what circumstances and who opened the door. So the EC still really doesn't have answers, which they've now passed the buck to the police and they're expecting them to answer. Commission also took note of the names of other details of the occupants of the flats and the people who collected the items from the flat where these items were seized. Now, again, that's been a huge point of conflict on who owns the flat, who's rented out the flat. This EC document doesn't shed enough light on who it is, but they've passed the buck to the police. Now, if I can just quote some more of this document to you, Tanvi. From all the facts narrated above, there is a definite inference that all the above items seized and collection of epic cards were likely for large-scale inducement of the voters. It may be worthwhile to mention that bribery at the election or to any person with the object of inducing him, I beg your pardon, or any other person is an electoral offence and punishable with imprisonment. So the EC is really admitting once again that there was definitely an attempt by in this entire episode to induce voters ahead of the Karnataka elections.
Yes, and viewed in the light of above principles of purity of elections and to save the elections from pernicious effect of money power and also from anti-social elements so as to maintain the sanctity of elections. Aarti Jairad on the phone line with me. Aarti Jairad, just last night we were discussing this issue and you also raised the point that it is very, very confusing to see that the Election Commission hasn't countermanded the polls. Well, it now seems that they have understood that point, that they must protect the sanctity of free and fair elections.
Yes, I think it's a very wise and sensible decision by the Election Commission. Countermanding may have been a very strong measure, so I believe they have deferred the polls.
Yes.
And till the 28th of May. Now, I just hope that the investigation proceeds at a quick pace and we get to the bottom of this mystery of where those cards appeared from and who's responsible for it. And, so that, the people of RR Nagar also get to exercise their franchise. And if indeed the person who's been booked is found guilty, then I think the polls will have to be countermanded and they will have to restart the whole process of nomination and all that again. And but I'm glad that the Election Commission has taken this decision because it's time that the Election Commission gets proactive and really starts taking tough measures, gets very stern about the use of money power or about, the kind of muck that goes on at election time. And unless the Election Commission, it is our only watchdog body, really, as to ensure that we have free and fair polls in this country. And while they've done a lot, I think in terms of vigilance on the money aspect of it and the fraud aspect of it, they need to really get much more proactive on that side.
Yes, because this is now also indicative of a larger problem, Ms. Jairad, isn't it? The kind of news that we're getting on a daily basis of the amount of cash, clothes, gifts, liquor that is being seized, and then comes these even more intricate conspiracies where they're not just profiling the voters, but they may be attempting to then on the basis of that bribe them. It seems that it's a game, a catch-up game where Election Commission may have fallen way behind.
Okay. I mean, I think from the days of TN Session, when for the first time we saw, what the Election Commission can actually do if it's vigilant and proactive. Since then, I think the Election Commission has done a lot in terms of bringing more and more people into the election process. We see the voter turnout rise with every election, which means they've made polling booths much more accessible, particularly to the marginalized and the poor and those who live in very backward districts.
Yes.
I think that's a huge achievement of the Election Commission. But on this part, the use of fraud, the use of money, the use of inducements, playing around with voter ID cards to, try to influence votes. On that side, I think the vigilance has been very poor.
Yes.
And I think that, the Election Commission needs to get much, much more proactive on that part.
Aarti Jairad, thank you.
Not wait till after the polls for a complaint to be filed. The minute something comes to its notice, it needs to act.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on Mirror. Now going across to Malvika Avinash of the BJP. Malvika Avinash, the BJP was, one of the first parties to go ahead and demand that elections be countermanded in this constituency, where at least they have now been pushed back to May 28th. Are you satisfied with this decision of Election Commission?
No, we sought a countermanding of the elections, and in a sense, we do stand vindicated. The fact that Mr. Muniratna, who happens to be the sitting MLA of the constituency, has indulged in several nefarious activities, including distribution of clothes, and now with this coming to light, 9,700 voter IDs found in one location is alarming. I am a voter of that constituency, and I can tell you that I feel terribly cheated. I felt terribly cheated when this came to light. And now the Election Commission has gone through all the matters, done a thorough inquiry, and has decided to defer the elections, which in a sense vindicates the position of the BJP.
Right. Malvika Avinash, thank you for reacting.
Of a cash for vote situation, because 9,700 was essentially meant to profile the voters and lure them But perhaps...
Well, yes, we still need to know who did that, who really planned this and carried out, how many people were really involved in this. Just want to clearly just point out that the Election Commission has started reaching out to the voters, and they have found that in a few cases, very few cases, these IDs were collected from people by unknown persons. So clearly, in some cases, they have reached out to the genuine voters and taken away their IDs, perhaps with the promise and the lure of actually giving them a bribe on the day of the voting. Completely out of time. Aarti, have you managed to quickly spot something else?
Actually, very interestingly, this probably gives you a little nugget of who was behind this, perhaps. The police recorded the statements of concerned voters, which reveal that epic cards were taken a month before in exchange of water cans and promised cookers.
Yeah.
Water cans were seized, and they bear photos and texts of the INC candidate from 154 Rajrajeshwari Nagar Assembly constituency. So this particular piece of information could be interesting to see whether or not that was paid by the Congress candidate in this constituency as inducement for the epic cards in return.
Well, it is looking like more and more so that was the plan, this way or that way, to bribe the voters for their vote. We are very glad that the Election Commission has taken the decision of deferring the polls in this specific constituency until things are clearer, and those who were attempting to derail a free and fair election process are actually held and caught in this specific case. Completely out of time on this edition of Nation Now. We're going to stick to this big story, get you lots more reactions, so stay tuned.